Hello, everyone, and welcome to my very first live stream. My name is James E. Wisher. I'm an author, and I just published my 38th novel. Since I don't really have anything too much planned, I want to keep this simple. This will be mostly a question and answer type of live stream. So let's see your questions. One I get asked a lot is where I get my ideas. So I thought I could run through a few of them. Oh, I see Art Blade is here. Hello, Art. Dennis Beauregard, hello. Thanks so much for stopping by. I honestly thought I was going to do this and nobody would show up, so this is cool. Ed Russell, hello. Glad to hear you're enjoying the books. Logan Grammer, I think, with a very cool red fist. What else have we got? I'm sure I'm spelling that wrong, but I'm glad, or saying that wrong, but I'm glad you're enjoying the books. Ian Creech, hello. Thanks so much for stopping by. Oh, Darwin Dominguez, welcome. Finished all the stories. Well, that's good. It's going to be a little while before I have more, unfortunately, but so does anybody have any questions, or do you want me to go ahead and talk about where I got some of my ideas for earlier stories? Yes, I hope it's worth the wait, Darwin. Thank you. Joe's going to be recording the narration starting next month, so I'm looking forward to hearing it. Josh Knut, thanks so much for stopping by. All right, so the very first book I published was Children of Darkness, a science fiction story. I got the idea. It was inspired by Babylon 5, and I wondered what would happen if Han Solo showed up in that universe. And that was the genesis of it. Usually it starts with something simple like that. But anyway. Dennis Beauregard asked if I'm planning a follow-up to Death and Honor. Not at the moment, but if I get an idea for it, I'll definitely write it. I do have a prequel short story that follows the father of the two boys before, when they're still little kids and when he's on a job to hunt down some assassins. So if you want to check that out, you can find it exclusively on my PayHip store. Global Hop E, thanks so much for the kind words. I'm glad you're enjoying the books. Bedroom Junkie is here. Thanks for stopping by. Let's see. All right, back to my ideas. The Soul Force Saga came about because I thought it would be cool to combine the powers of the Green Lanterns and Dragon Ball Z characters. I know it sounds crazy, but that was the spark that caused it to come about. Bedroom Junkie enjoyed The Squire last night. Seems to have enjoyed Cole. It was actually one of my favorite characters that I've written. A lot of my characters end up getting a little bit overpowered, which makes it hard to keep going in the series. And Cole really just stayed a great fighter with a cool sword and the ability to discern lies, but nothing completely overwhelming. So he was a fun one to write. I actually have an idea for a sequel to that I haven't written yet, and I may get to it at some point. Problem with this business is you got so many ideas and it takes a while to get to them all. Josh Canute, do I have any more? I'm going to say that's science fiction work plan. I'm actually working on off and on a science fantasy that combines like a sci-fi setting with there's magic and sort of a Star Wars-esque thing. Yeah, no problem with the misspelling. I was pretty sure what you meant. Yeah, it's going to be about a galactic empire that's falling apart and various things happening here and there as different people try and deal with it. Yeah, Cole had street smarts. Yes, he definitely had street smarts. He got picked on a lot. You'll find a lot of my characters get bullied and then come back against the bullies. That's one of the themes I like. I like to write about. Caleb Lampin, welcome. I wanted to say thank you for what I do, and he's been stuck on bed rest, and the YouTube books have helped him. So that's awesome. I hear from people all the time, and that my stories are helping them, get through a bad time, and that's an amazing thing. It's not many people who really can say that something they created made a difference to somebody's life, and I'm happy to be somebody who can say that. So thank you very much. Anyway, as I was saying, the idea for the Soul Force Saga was combining Dragon Ball and Green Lantern. The energy can create, the magical energy they use can create shapes and weapons and things like that. Art Blade, I'd like to know how I structure my work, the writing process. Sometimes thought it would be easier to start from the end so various paths can be disentangled. All right. But here's the thing. It's hard to say how I structure because I don't do outlines. I just sort of, once I get the idea, I'll have an idea. You need 3 things basically to start a story, which is a character, a setting, and a problem. So once you have those, we'll use, it doesn't even have to be a big problem. Any problem will do. So we'll start out with, we'll use the Portal Wars saga, because I assume everybody has listened to at least book 1. And the character of Otto, it starts out with him in his setting, which is on his way down to his master's lab in the basement of the castle for his magic lesson. And his problem is he doesn't want it to end because he's got to go do his sword class, which he doesn't want to do. And then you just keep coming up with new problems, and they try to fix this problem. And if they succeed, it has to cause even bigger problems. And if they fail, that also causes bigger problems. And it just keeps going like that until their final great big effort, and they succeed or fail. And that's, if they succeed, it's a happy ending. And if they fail, it's a sad ending. And that's pretty much, I just keep going until I figure out what the end is. I write every day, 7 days a week, and when I'm working on a draft. So I aim for 6 pages at a minimum, and I just keep going until I get to the end. And then when I get to the end, I'll go back and read and make sure everything makes sense. If it does, I say great. If it doesn't, I fix all them, anything I find that doesn't make sense. And then the rough draft goes off to my editor. She finds inconsistencies and typos and stuff like that. And I go through what she finds, fix that, goes back again for a proofread, make sure I didn't add any new mistakes as I was working. And then she sends me the proofread back, which usually there's, 30 or 40 things that need to be fixed, and that's it. Then while that's going on, I'll be talking with my artist, my cover designer, who will be working on the cover art. And once I get that, It goes up on various places. Usually I try to launch in Kickstarter, and then it goes to Amazon and various other ebook marketplaces. Yeah. Global Hope E. I've been writing for a couple of months, and my stories always get you out of a block, and great idea for dialogue. That's awesome. I appreciate it. Dialogue can be tricky. If you're having trouble with it, I recommend reading it out loud, just to see how it sounds rather than how it looks on the page. That's very important. Otherwise, it can look good, but it can be blocky. If you use a recording thing like this, you can also record yourself reading it like the character and then watch the video back, to see how it sounds and if it's, if it makes sense and is easy to understand. Mahesh Kokar, I hope I said that right. Could I create a new fantasy series as great as the Portal War saga? That would be awesome. I strive to make every series as good as I can. The one directly after the Portal War saga was the Divine Key trilogy, and that actually didn't go anywhere near as I was hoping it would. Some people seem to like it, but the sales have been kind of all over the place. Sometimes good, sometimes not. But I had a lot of fun writing it. That one was actually inspired by Sinbad, which is a series I always enjoyed as a kid. Dennis Beauregard asks who my own favorite author writer is. Right now, my favorite author working right now is Joe Abercrombie. I love the grimdark stuff. He's a great writer. Terry Brooks, The Sword of Shannara was the book that made me want to be a writer in the first place. Some of his newer stuff, not as great as some of the older stuff, but it's still quite good. Let me think. I have a hard time pronouncing their names, but I've been reading a lot of light novels lately, and those are quite fun. I just finished Failure Frame, which is an interesting light novel. I think there was 5 books in that series that were quite good if you're into that kind of thing. Stephen Hoy says, hello, fellow fans. Yes, it looks like 20 people are watching, which is frankly 19 more than I expected. So thanks so much, everyone, for stopping by. Mahesh says he completed the last book in the Portal Wars today, and he really liked it. That's awesome. Thank you. Art Blade. Nice. Glad to hear I've got an editor. It must help. Yes, it does. I got an editor as soon as I could afford one. The Squire was my first book that did reasonably well, but I just had a couple of family members read it for typos, and I got a lot of reviews that said I needed to find an editor. And as soon as I had enough money from sales, I was finding my editor was #1 priority. Bedroom Junkie says they tried to bully Cole, but it didn't work out. No, it certainly didn't work out. He also likes Children of the Black Sheep. It's actually Black Ship, but okay. The stories got him through some sleepless nights after he messed up his back. That's awesome. I'm glad to hear they did that. Yes, the sci-fi series is a lot of fun. I wish more people would give it a shot, but it really is not a very popular series for me. I've got one more book to finish that up, and I'll probably move on to something. I'll definitely move on to something else. Probably just stick with the fantasy for now. Bedroom Junkie again. My brother's nickname was Sinbad. Yes, I wonder if he was named for the comedian or the famous fantasy character. Sinbad the comedian is also very amusing. Gekka says, thanks for your hard work. I want more of your work with the same setting as the Portal Wars. What series do I recommend? I don't have anything else in the Portal Wars series universe yet, but my next project after I finish the urban fantasy series I'm on now is going to be a trilogy set in Coltsland after the chaos of the war with Auden. So that'll probably be out either late next year or early 2024. Stephen Frey says, hi, yes, good to see you. Thanks so much for stopping by. Yeah, Art Blade likes Joe Abercrombie as well. Yes, I highly recommend Joe Abercrombie to all fantasy fans. His work is awesome. Likes my sci-fi as well. I appreciate that. Art's been a great supporter of the channel, so thanks very much. Glad you could make it today. Stephen Hoy, I do have a serious question. There are a few books that influenced me so much and so deeply that the stories I have been writing, I almost feel like I hijacked someone else's story. Yes, that can be tough, especially early on. Other people's work can definitely intrude. The trick is not to. You might have an idea, but as long as you're not actually writing, like word for word, your take on the idea will always be unique. How you express it, rather than, as long as your take on any given idea is your own, that's the main thing. As long as he wants to know, do I write them or do I just make sure they're acknowledged or what? As long as you're not actually copying them, you can go ahead and write whatever you want to write. A lot of my stories are inspired by other work. I think everybody's are. Every story out there has basically already been done. It's just your take on a given story that's important. I would recommend, when you finish the story, have somebody that has read the story you're afraid you're copying read your story and see what they say. If they say, hey, you really followed this guy's plot too closely, then you might want to think about changes. Or yes, it's a tough call. But like I said, as long as it's not actually plagiarizing, you should be good to go. Bedroom Jockey says his friend was named after Sinbad the Adventurer. Yeah, I love those. The old Ray Harryhausen special effects and animations. It's so cheesy now, but it was great when I was 8 or 10 years old. And yeah, I appreciate that. My science fiction stuff would make a good TV show. Fortunately, making TV shows is way outside of my purview, so I'd have to wait for somebody to come along and offer to license the rights. Yes, counting sheep instead of black sheep. Yeah, I can see how that would happen. Stephen A. Absolutely no good. As long as you're not copying, you should be fine. It's just you definitely don't want to copy. That'll get you in a lot of trouble. You guys will excuse me for a second. I got to get a drink. Okay. I left it by my chair in the living room, so I had to go grab that. All right. I don't see any more questions. So what was I talking about? Oh, Soul Force Saga. Now, I haven't been able to share that one with you on YouTube because it's currently licensed to Podium Publishing. So they have the audiobook rights for another, I think, year. So hopefully next year I'll get those back and then I can put them up. Stephen Hoy again. It's so easy to be influenced by another author that I wonder if someone else will read and say, this is based off so-and-so's story. They might. I actually had somebody say for Shadow Magic, the Divine Key, first book in the Divine Key trilogy, that I stole the title from somebody else. You can't really steal a title. So just for what it's worth, don't worry about titles. Anybody can use any title, though I don't recommend something like Star Wars or Harry Potter. Anyway, yeah. It's always possible, as far as the influence, somebody saying something was influenced, but like I said earlier, if it's not an actual copy of it, I wouldn't worry about it. Even if they say this is based off so-and-so's story, that happens all the time. Basing it off of someone else's story, or even, especially a lot of people base things off of history and old shows, you know. Sorry about that. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about it. Especially is this some of your first stuff, like your first book, or have you written others? Bedroom Junkie. Oh, Harryhausen got him into animation. Yes, the stop motion is very interesting. I don't think I'd have the patience to make those tiny moves with the little clay guys. The pickup on the shelf behind me. Did I actually shift it back into shape and align it with the frame? This one? Or which picture are you talking about? I didn't move anything, so I'm not sure what you mean. TK says, thanks for posting my work. You're welcome. It's been posting on YouTube especially has been a lot of fun. I'm actually sneaking up on 7,000 subscribers, so that is very cool. Stephen Dry. Yeah, your first novel? Yes. I will say, as you get more books under your belt, it'll be a lot easier to avoid using maybe the voice and style of another writer. It's just a matter of experience. You could, if you're not comfortable publishing it, you could even treat it as like a practice novel. I think I've written, when I was first getting started, I think I wrote 2 novels that were just, let's just say they'll never see the light of day. Global Hoppy. I love the concept of nanites and necromancers, that I had to put it into words. If you could, would you play around with that concept? Yeah, that's actually kind of a cool idea. If you're talking about Children of the Black Ship, I wanted to do a horror in space. And I don't know if you read it. I think it's called Red Harvest. It was a Star Wars movie where Han Solo ends up on a ship that's got a Sith bioweapon on it. That's sort of what inspired the Children of the Black Ship story. TK says, guys on a limited income, thank me for posting on YouTube. You guys are very welcome. I know, especially right now, things are tight. So I'm glad to have a way to share my work with people who maybe can't afford to buy it. Don Chichi Vagabond. To question an author about his or her inspiration is akin to stealing from another is ridiculous. Everything is inspiring. Absolutely right. That said, I will say that there are some passionate fans out there of other people's work who will absolutely do it and slam you in the Amazon reviews. So it's something to be mindful of. And my advice is don't read your Amazon reviews, especially the bad ones. Although the good ones can be hard too, because it's really hard as a writer sometimes to live up to your earlier stuff. It's something I think about, especially after Portal Wars was so successful. I wonder if I'll ever have a hit that big again, but we'll see. Our blade. It's in the background. Up here? No, I didn't intentionally align it with the frame. That's just how it turned out when I turned the camera on. It's actually a picture of my grandmother and uncle. Oh, maybe the camera shifted a little bit. That one might be over this way, out of the shot. The one you're talking about. Donichi Vagabond says, I have listened to almost all your books, and none of them seem familiar to anything I've read. Well, I appreciate that. Usually, what I will borrow is, or not borrow, but I'll take a concept like off of something and then just use it as inspiration and go off in my own direction. One of the reasons I don't do outlines is you tend to, when you outline, you think too much in the critical style, and it's not as good for your imagination. You tend to outline what you already know rather than creating something new. So when you write into the dark or pantsing it, as some people say, making it up as you go, I think you get a lot more original stuff. At least I find that I do. So that's something to think about. If yeah. And in my Donichi Vagabond says, in my books, I never get the sense you want the characters to be around forever. They all have an end. Yes, I've noticed that a lot of series will go on and on and on, and I always want to have at least some kind of a target to end them. Although the Aegis of Merlin, my urban fantasy series, is now up to 10 books, and I don't see an end coming for that anytime soon. So one of the reasons I write that way is they say Breaking Bad, which is one of my favorite TV shows ever, was written to be 6 seasons long. The writers said they wanted to have a definitive story, and that they didn't want something that was going to go forever and ever. I always thought that was kind of a cool idea, to have an ending planned for your characters. AM&M, welcome. I think that's your first comment. Hopefully I didn't miss anything. It says, hi, James. I found your channel yesterday, and I'm already midway through the second book of the Portal Wars series. That's great. I hope you're enjoying it. Oh, you are. It says, I'm really enjoying it, and I'm looking forward to writing a book review about it for class. Oh, that's awesome. Thanks so much. What grade are you in? Bedroom Junkie. Again, in my experience, almost everything has been done before. I really want to write a book about a bunker survival post-apocalyptic future, but it's a saturated trope. Yeah, but think about all the other tropes. I mean, how many books are there about people going to another world, and those still sell like crazy? Excuse me. If you want to write it, I say write it. Your take is bound to be different than anybody else's, so it could be interesting. I've never written a zombie post-apocalyptic book, so that might be an interesting thing one day. Yeah, that direction. Yeah, I think the picture Art Blade says. I think the picture you're talking about is out of the frame of the camera. Cerebral Assassin says, when you write a series, do you know how it's going to end, or does the ending develop as I write it? He loves my books. Thanks very much for that. No, I don't usually know how they're going to end. Part of the fun of writing for me is figuring out how it's going to end. It's very much I try to write in a way that mimics the reading process. So it's like I'm discovering the story as I go along, just like you guys are, which, when you write 7 days a week, you want to be able to be entertained at the same time. And it makes it a lot easier to get to the computer and get to work when you want to know what's going to happen next. At least it is for me. Dom CM. What made me want to write The Aegis of Merlin? I was watching an anime called Blade Dance of the Elementalers. It's not particularly well known, I don't think, certainly compared to some, but it's about this, the magic system in that. It's all girls, and there's one guy who can also use that kind of magic. And I thought that was kind of a cool idea. So I decided I'll give it a shot, and that was the genesis of Conryu and the Aegis of Merlin. Bell HZ asks, I only recently discovered you, definitely looking to you for those monotonous work nights. Help me maintain my sanity. Just letting me know. Thanks. You're very welcome. A lot of people, especially truckers, will tell me in comments that my stories are helping them pass the time, which is awesome. I'm glad I can be of entertainment to people. Bedroom Junkie. The idea is a generational bunker with embryo growth tech where all the elites have gone to Mars and set up a separate oligarchy. And the bunker people slowly uncover the eugenics conspiracy. I will say that I have never heard anything like that. So if you want to, if that's something you want to write, I think it will definitely be unique. It almost sounds like there are some sci-fi stories where people go on generation ships where they don't have faster than light travel to go between worlds, where they live like a society on a giant ship over time. It sounds a little bit like that, and maybe a little bit of Matrix thrown in, where people are growing in the tubes. Stephen Oy. Me too. Bedroom and I want to write something original. Yes. I would say that's great, but don't get hung up on it. It's hard to come up with something that's really original. It's also relatable, I suppose. Donichi Vagabond says, my honesty is so refreshing. Well, thank you. I do try to be honest as much as I can. There's a lot of stuff that happens in this industry, the writing industry. So I guess thanks. I'll be as honest as I can with you guys. Heartblade says, James, if you enjoy the never-ending story type, maybe or try Jim Butcher's work. Modern day wizard, works as a private investigator and shares paranormal cases. Yes, I like Jim Butcher. I'm actually reading something by Glenn Cook that's very similar. It's a private investigator, but he's set in a fantasy world, which is very cool. It's Garrett P.I. is the name of the series. It's very good. I just read the first book about a month ago. Did a short review on Goodreads for it. I actually, the never-ending story types are okay, but I actually prefer the ones that do have an ending. Smiley face from Art Blade. Thank you. Ryan Moore. Welcome. I love The Hidden Tower. Oh, thank you. The Hidden Tower was a lot of fun to write. I actually had to write it. I kept having a dream about the first 20,000 words of that story. I couldn't get a decent night's sleep until I started writing about it. Otto was absolutely insistent that his story be told. Chris Caron, I hope I said that right. Just wanted to give you props. I'm really enjoying your books. I'm listening to the Portal Wars, and they're great. Oh, thank you very much. I always love to hear people are enjoying my stuff. Thanks for stopping in. We're up to 25 people watching. Not too bad for a first live stream ever. Yeah, so I'll tell you about my next project that's going to be up on the YouTube channel. I think I mentioned it in some places, but I'm thinking about doing, or I shouldn't say thinking about, I'm working on doing a motion comic. So it's based on my Soul Force Saga story. That should be a lot of fun, at least I hope. It's certainly fun making it. Although I Warren Art Blade now, it does have music and sound effects. So Cerebral Assassin, thank you for posting your audiobooks. I'm in college and I don't always have time to sit and read, so my posts help a lot. That's awesome. Thanks so much for listening. I appreciate it. Donichi Vagabond, I've said before, you turn out books so fast. The reason is in the 90s and early 2000s, I used to wait for years for another book to be written, and I would forget after a couple of years pass. Yes, actually, compared to a lot of indie writers, I'm not that fast. I do try, when you write every day, they add up. My goal is usually 4 to 6 books a year. One thing I try to do is, right now I'm writing about a year ahead, so that way I don't have to worry about running out of stuff. Yeah, no, I hate waiting. When I bought the first 4 Game of Thrones books thinking that the series was done. Little did I know that George R. R. Martin didn't write very fast. Uh, 27 watching, only 13 thumbs up. Yeah. More thumbs up would be awesome. Thanks so much, Art, for making the suggestion. Yes, I know how much you like music and FX. James, do you use a method for bullet pointing your story arcs and general themes? I think one of the tricks for works like Generations would be not too much explaining how the tech works. Yes, I try not to get too into the weeds with technology and magic. I try to explain it in little dribs and drabs as the story's going. And no, I don't use bullet points. I don't use any kind of outline. I find I'm unable to follow them. I just when I sit down to write, like for example, after this live stream, I'll start writing. What I'll do is read the scene that I wrote yesterday, and when I get to the end of it, I'll just say, okay, what happens next, and fire off into the next scene. Yeah, I don't. I've never been able to follow an outline. I've tried writing them, but I just can't. I just can't seem to follow them. Yes, it's very easy to get bogged down in the weeds of science, and you don't want to do that. It will just slow the story down. It'll mess up your pacing. So only the details necessary. That's necessary for the story to be understood right then. But one thing I will recommend is writing down any detail you put out. I recommend writing it down for yourself so you don't contradict yourself later on. That's also not good. Don't CMS. What's the best way to start writing? That's a tricky one. I would say the best way to start writing is to just start. If you have a story, just start writing. See what happens. Yeah. I did. That's what I did. I also took some writing classes, which were useful. Anything by any of Dean Wesley Smith's classes, I think, are a great place if you're just learning how to write. Just getting started in fiction. I think I've taken 15 or 20 classes from him. I've learned something in all of them. So I would definitely say check his stuff out. He's a great teacher. Just you guys will excuse me for a sec. I'll be right back. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, where was I? Here we go. Mahesh Kahar, keep up your good work. Love your dedication and imagination. Thanks very much for that. That's the plan. I've got so many ideas right now. I could probably write for the rest of my life, even if I didn't get another new one, which doesn't seem very likely. Yeah, waiting for Game of Thrones has been painful, no doubt about that. I am Creech. Have you read Three Body Problem series? I'm almost done with Portal Wars. Love it. One of the things I look forward to the most. Okay, I appreciate that. I know Three Body Problem is not something I read. I'll have to look it up. I don't think I've even heard of it, to be honest. Bedroom Junkie, Three Body Problem was an interesting book. The cultural, socialism, Marxism limbs of the characters frame the story well. Don Chichi Vagabond. I laughed when I heard you describe a character as roly poly. Yeah. Philip. Oh God, I'm gonna massacre your name, but I'll give it a shot. Kakaopo. Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Sorry, I'm late. No problem at all. Glad you could make it. Thanks so much for stopping in. Steve Bob. Thank you, James. I really like your reads. I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys all stopping in. To be honest, I'm terrible at just talking about things, but it's pretty nice to be able to chat about whatever you bring up. Bedroom Junkie. Twinges of 1984, Brave New World were from a uniquely Chinese party take. Flashes of Matrix technology. I assume you're talking about the Three Body Problem. Sounds interesting. I'll have to look it up. Anything else? Oh, did you hear? I saw in another live stream I was watching about what's his name? The other guy, not George Martin, but the other guy who was way behind on his fantasy series, said he was editing the third book. His name is blanking on me at the moment, but take care, James. Got to go. Looking forward to the community I'm inadvertently creating. Yes, a lot of the stuff I do is inadvertent. Thanks so much for stopping by. Your comments were awesome. I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take it easy. Cerebral Assassin asks if I've ever watched Attack on Titan. Yes, I have watched it, and it's awesome. It's probably one of my favorite animes. I think I haven't watched the last season yet, but I'm up to the last season I have seen. What other animes have I seen that I liked? Oh boy, that's a long list. My favorite anime, I would say, is Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. That was definitely one of the tops. What else? Dragon Ball Z, as I mentioned, that was inspiration for the Soul Force saga. I think the first anime I ever watched was the Macross saga, so that'll always have a place in my heart. Global Hop E. Do you think I'll be doing more of these? Picking an author's brain is awesome. Yes, absolutely. I would love to do more live streams. It's going to be a while before I have any new audiobooks to upload, so this is a good way to keep in touch with you guys. If there's interest, I could maybe do one a week every Sunday. Let me know what you guys think. If there'd be interest in a weekly Sunday live stream. That's actually the best day for me, so if it works for you guys, that would be great. Arblade Anime, recommend checking out your channel. You did some nice reviews. Did I? I know I did a couple of light novel reviews. Ian Creech, the artwork for my books is really good. I find myself looking at the stuff I haven't read yet and imagining what I'm missing. Yes, one of the things I love best about my job as a fantasy writer is basically I can collect fantasy art and it's a deduction on my taxes. I've always loved fantasy art, even when I was a kid. The Dragonlance covers and Forgotten Realms covers, Todd Lockwood especially is one of my favorites. I don't know that I could ever afford one of his pieces, but I do love his work. So yeah, it's great to be able to get all the art I want. Expensive too, but what the hell. Bedroom Junkie, yep, was talking about the 3-body problem. The characters are always paranoid about what the party will think of what they're doing, discovering. Makes for an element of jeopardy. I'm definitely going to have to look that up and see what's happening. Ian Creech, yes, more live chat. This is great. All right. Dennis Beauregard, Sunday suits him just fine. That's good. Sci-Fi Nerd 1911. Hell yeah, glad I'm catching this. Thank you for stopping by. It's I see a lot of your comments on my videos, and they're always excellent. So thanks so much for those. Ryan Moore, Sunday works for me. Okay, that's very good. Logan Gamer, I'm good with the Wisher every other Sunday show. Now we could do every other Sunday, whichever you guys like. Stephen Hoy, have you ever wrote the ending to a story before writing the story? No, I've never done that. I'm afraid even if I did that, by the time I got to the ending I had written, the story would have changed so much that the story wouldn't make sense anymore. Or the ending, I mean, wouldn't make sense anymore. Bedroom Junkie. Okay, I have to get this Artwork done. Procrastinated enough. We were listening in the background, though. Nice to meet you all, and thanks for your channel, James. Yes, Bedroom Junkie. Thanks so much for stopping in. It was nice comments and stuff from you. I appreciate it. Logan, GRMNR. I work on Sundays. Well, you can always, I guess you can watch on the replay if you can't stop in. Would make my Sunday, honestly. Well, that's excellent. Global Hope E. I appreciate that. Cerebral Assassin would be okay with one of your books or series being turned into a movie or TV show. I would be okay with that. Nobody's offered yet, unfortunately, but the trick would be, at least for me, I would want to have at least some say over the creation, because they tend to screw up a lot of shows that are based on books. So I wouldn't want them to massacre one of my stories. That would just be too depressing. Artblade. The artwork we see in my vids. Who's the artist? Most of the work is done by an artist named Benjamin Roque. He's from the Philippines. And the sci-fi stuff is done by an artist from Serbia, I think. I can't think of his name at the moment, but he's done. He did the Soul Force Saga and the Aegis of Merlin books for me. The names are in the front of the on the copyright page. I'm drawing a blank on his name, and I'm sorry about that because he's a really good guy. Oh, Darko. His first name is Darko. I can't remember his last name. Mahesh Kaur. I forgot. I wanted to ask you, how do you get time to record your audiobooks, and how do you earn money? I don't record them. I hire a guy. His name's Joe Hempel. I pay him to record them after the manuscript is finished. His voice is way better than mine. How do I earn money? Ad revenue for YouTube. I spaced at chapter breaks. I put those ad breaks in, and I get a little bit at each ad break. It's really not that much per ad, but if enough people watch your stuff and watch the ads, it adds up. I also, of course, I sell audiobooks on ACX and various other marketplaces. I sell my ebooks everywhere. Print books. I'm working on hardcovers now. They're not quite done. I got 2 more to go in the Portal War saga. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Sci-Fi Nerd 1911. Don't forget, in one of your books coming up, you've got to incorporate cow salad dressing. Yes, I actually have that planned for a particular book right now. It's going to be in the series set in Colt's Land in the Portal Wars universe or world. Yes, I did not forget the cow salad dressing thing. It will be in probably the second book in that trilogy. I've been thinking about it off and on since you described it. He says, on a serious note, they really do love liquid cattle feed. It's fun to make. Okay. I'm not exactly sure how making liquid cattle feed would be fun, but if you enjoy it, that's awesome. Heartblade. They're fascinating. Please tell them that they're good. I will do that. And a lot of people, they've gotten a lot of compliments from people on the covers for their covers. I think part of the reason my books do as well as they do is, people flipping through Amazon and seeing those cool covers and being like, oh, I got to check that book out. John Tackett. Is the Portal Wars the same universe as the Divine Key? All my books are set in the same universe, but it's a different world, different characters in a different world. Yeah. So some of the things in the universe you'll find as you read different series, like the Archangels and Demon Lords and the Void and things like that carry over from series to series. But I tried to have each world have, a little bit different magic, or all different characters, of course, things like that. It kind of ties it together while still making each series interesting. Well, we're getting on towards an hour, so if there are any more comments, please post them, and I think we'll think about wrapping the stream up. Our Blade says cow salad dressing and onion rings served in retro diner with orange wall paint. Yeah, I think I'll take a pass on that one, but interesting idea. Maya says, bye. It was good to talk to an author I admire. Yes, it was good. Thanks very much for stopping in. John, is there a chance for a crossover from different series? There's always a chance, especially with portals connecting some of the worlds. Ian Creek says, cool, man. Big Fast, thank you. CHW Webrication. Damn, joining in for the end. Yeah, I do need to get to work on the novel I'm working on, but Ian Creech, thank you. I am glad you could stop in, even if it was just for a moment. Ryan Moore, nice to meet you. Keep up the good work. Nice to meet you too, Ryan. Thanks so much for stopping. Blade, your words, it was in one of your sci-fi books. Solomon dated a computer nerd girl who loved that. Oh yeah, I actually forgot about that. That was Children of Junk, I think. That's the problem. When you've written as many books as I have, sometimes the details start to fade away. Cerebral Assassin, thanks for answering your questions. Absolutely. It was my pleasure. I hope you guys come up with lots more questions for the next live stream. Honestly, if you hadn't come, I would have mostly been me sitting here staring at the screen, because I'm not really good at doing the whole talking about stories and, just random chit chat thing. Thank you for the stream. It was fun. Yes, thank you, Art, for stopping in. I appreciate it. Peter Mange, thanks for the awesome books. They have helped me a lot. Oh, you're welcome, Peter. John Thackett, thanks for the stream. Have to listen to the Master of Magic. Good. Hope you enjoy it. Portal Wars is great. Thanks for the upload. You're welcome, CH Webrication. Dennis Beauregard, thanks, James. See you next Sunday. Absolutely. Same bat time, same bat channel. One last quick one. Favorite fantasy weapon mount armor set you haven't equipped a character with yet? Oh boy, I don't know. I've done dragons. I don't think I've done a griffin. I think a griffin rider would be cool. Bedroom Junkie says. Yeah, I would say griffin. I haven't done a griffin yet. James Clements, thank you for your work. You're very welcome. Thank you for listening. Okay. I'll say goodbye and see you guys next Sunday. Thanks so much for stopping.